I built this empire with blood and iron. Every brick, every dollar, stained with sweat and the lives of those who came before me. The Moretti name ruled this city for 40 years, feared and respected. But when betrayal came, it wore my own blood, my son, Victor. He sat across from me, beside my sworn enemies, the Rossi family, his voice steady. "It's time you stepped down, Dad. This empire is mine now." My own son, turning against me, siding with those who swore to destroy us. I lost everything, my power, my name, my family. But from that ashes, I began to take it all back. This is my story, the story of Don Marcus Moretti. I am 68, the head of the Moretti family, a mafia empire I forged through decades of deals, loyalty, and ruthlessness. My hands were steady, my word law, even as age crept into my bones. Victor, my 40-year-old son, was my heir, raised to carry our name with pride. But his ambition twisted, his eyes hungry for power I still held. Isabella, my 35-year-old daughter, was loyal, her heart tied to our family, her pain raw as she watched her brother's betrayal. The Rossi family, our rivals for generations, waited like vultures, their hatred for me a fire that never died. I started feeling the cracks years ago, after my wife Clara passed. Victor grew restless, questioning my decisions, pushing risky deals I vetoed. "You're too cautious, Dad," he said, his voice sharp. I thought it was youth, ambition, but his meetings grew secretive, his loyalty thin. I lived in our family's mansion, still commanding respect, my name whispered in fear at every corner of the city. But the streets talked, old allies, bar owners saying, "Victor's meeting with the wrong people." I wanted to trust him, to believe he would honor our blood. Then came the night he asked me to a family meeting, his voice calm. "We need to talk, Dad." I went, my heart heavy with hope, only to walk into a trap. The room was filled with Rossi men, their guns drawn, Victor at their side. "You're done, Dad," he said, his eyes cold. The Rossi boss smirked. "Your time's over, Marcus." My own men hesitated, their loyalty torn as Victor took my seat. I was stripped of power, my name dragged through the mud, my empire handed to my son and my enemies. Isabella's eyes filled with tears, her voice soft. "Dad, I'm still with you." But Victor's betrayal cut deeper than any bullet. His alliance with the Rossis, a wound I carried as I was cast out. My heart breaking for the family I built, now torn apart by my own blood. Where are you listening to this story from? Drop a comment below to share your thoughts. My journey through betrayal showed me that even blood can turn against you, but the fight for honor cuts deeper than any knife. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to join me for more stories of treachery and the fire to take back what's yours. The sting of Victor's words, "You're done, Dad," cut deeper than any blade. His alliance with the Rossi family, a betrayal that echoed through the meeting hall where I once ruled. The Rossi boss's smirk burned in my mind as my own men turned away, their loyalty shattered by my son's cold ambition. I stood in the shadows of the city I had owned for 40 years, my empire stripped, my name dragged through the mud. Isabella gripped my arm, her voice trembling. "I'm still with you, Dad." But the weight of Victor's betrayal was heavier than the guns pointed at me. The Rossi men's laughter a wound that bled as I was cast out. My heart breaking for the Moretti name I built. Victor's plan was ruthless. I overheard him in a backroom deal, his voice steady to the Rossi boss. "I'll give you the routes, the accounts, everything. Just back me." The Rossis nodded, their eyes gleaming. "Your dad's finished, kid." I was pushed to a rundown safe house, my hands empty, my power gone. The city's whispers reached me, sharp and cruel. Marcus is done, betrayed by his own blood. Old allies at the docks, men I trusted, turned away, their voices low. Victor's the boss now. I wanted to scream, to tell them my son had sold our legacy, but the streets were no longer mine, my heart aching for the family I raised. The city's underworld mocked me, their voices loud at bars. Marcus is a ghost now. Victor played his part, his voice calm at a gathering of our men. Dad's too old, too weak to lead. Isabella stood nearby, her eyes wet, her voice fierce. You're wrong, Victor. He's our father. He laughed, his tone cold. Stay out of this, Isabella. I sat in the safe house, my hands trembling, my mind racing with memories of Clara, her gentle smile, our nights building the Moretti empire. Would she see me now, cast out by our son? I scratched her name on a scrap of paper, a spark of resolve. My heart clinging to the man I was, Victor's betrayal grew bolder. At a public deal with the Rossis, he stood tall, his voice sharp. The Moretti family is mine now. The Rossis clapped, their laughter echoing. Your dad's nothing, kid. I listened from the shadows, my heart breaking as I remembered teaching Victor to negotiate, his young eyes bright with pride. I had given him everything, my trust, my empire, my love. Now he handed it to our enemies. The city's whispers grew, their pity heavy. Poor Marcus, betrayed by his own. I wanted to fight, to reclaim my name, but my men were scattered, my power gone, my resolve flickering but alive. Isabella slipped into the safe house one night, her voice low. I'm gathering our loyal men, Dad. I nodded, my heart steady despite the pain, writing her loyalty in my mind, my notebook a scrap of paper now. The city's scorn persisted, bar owners muttering, Marcus is finished. Victor's voice carried at a club, his tone cruel. Dad's a relic, useless. The Rossis echoed him, their voices loud. We own this city now. I lay low, my hands steady, my mind sharp despite the hunger and exhaustion. The city's underworld saw me as broken, their taunts sharp. Marcus is a nobody. But Isabella's faith kept me grounded, her voice firm. You're still Don Moretti, Dad. The safe house was a cage, the cold seeping into my bones, my body weak but my mind alive with 40 years of strategy. I thought of Clara, her faith in me, our dream of a family united. I scratched her name again, my resolve unbroken. Victor's lies spread, his voice loud at a meeting. Dad's gone and I'm the future. The Rossis laughed, their power growing, but Isabella whispered, We'll fight back, Dad. I nodded, my heart heavy but firm, my hands ready to rebuild. I was Marcus Moretti, a man who forged an empire from nothing, and I would not let my son's greed bury me. My resolve was a foundation stronger than the betrayal, my heart anchored by Isabella and the truth they tried to erase. The safe house's damp walls closed in around me. Victor's cold words, You're done, Dad. And the Rossi boss's smirk burning in my mind as I sat in the shadows, stripped of my empire. The city's whispers cut deep. Marcus is a ghost now. Isabella's voice, fierce and steady, was my anchor. We'll take it back, Dad. My hands, once feared across the city, were empty, but my mind was sharp with 40 years of strategy. Victor's betrayal was a blade, his alliance with the Rossis a wound I carried, but I refused to break, my heart clinging to the Moretti name I built. Victor's arrogance grew, his voice loud at a club. Dad's time is over. I'm the Moretti future. The Rossis laughed, their grip tightening. "You're our man, Victor." I listened from a distance, my heart aching for the son I raised, now a puppet for our enemies. Isabella slipped into the safe house, her eyes fierce. "I found Tommy and Luca, Dad. They're still loyal." I nodded, writing their names on a scrap of paper, my notebook reduced to fragments, my resolve burning. The city mocked me, old allies at the docks muttering, "Marcus is useless now." But I was already moving, my hands steady, reaching out to those who remembered the real Don Moretti. I met Tommy in a back alley, his voice low. "We're with you, boss." Luca nodded, his eyes hard. "Victor's a fool, trusting the Rossis." I laid out my plan, my voice calm. "We watch, we wait, we find their weaknesses." Isabella connected us to more men, her voice steady. "They still fear you, Dad." The city's scorn persisted, bar owners whispering, "Marcus is finished." Victor's voice carried at a deal, his tone cruel. "Dad's a relic, no threat." The Rossis echoed him, their laughter sharp. "The old man's nothing." I wrote their words, my heart heavy but firm, my mind plotting like the days I built our empire from nothing. Victor's greed blinded him. I overheard him at a Rossi meeting, his voice eager. "I gave you the roots, the accounts, now pay up." The Rossi boss smirked. "Patience, kid. You're useful, for now." Isabella brought me their ledgers, her hands trembling. "They're using him, Dad." I nodded, my resolve aflame, studying their deals, their roots, their cracks. The city's underworld saw me as broken, their taunts sharp. Marcus is a nobody. But I moved silently, meeting loyal men in hidden corners, my voice low. "We're not fighting for me, but for the Moretti name." Their eyes lit up, their loyalty a spark, my heart steady despite Victor's betrayal. The safe house was my refuge, its cold walls a reminder of my fall. I thought of Clara, her gentle smile, our nights forging the Moretti legacy. Would she see me now, cast out by our son? I scratched her name on the paper, my resolve unbroken. Victor's lies grew bolder, his voice loud at a gathering. "Dad's gone, and I'm the boss." The Rossis clapped, their power swelling, but Isabella whispered, "They're overconfident, Dad. We can use that." I nodded, my hands mapping their deals, my mind sharp with strategy. The city's whispers turned to pity. Poor Marcus, betrayed by his blood. But Isabella's faith and my loyal men kept me grounded, their trust a foundation stronger than the empire I lost. I pushed forward, my hands steady, my plan taking shape. Tommy reported, "Victor's sloppy, leaving gaps in their deals." Luca added, "The Rossis don't trust him fully." I smiled in the dark, my heart heavy but firm, writing their weaknesses. Victor's voice came one night, his tone shaky. "I need more power, Rossi." Their laughter was cold. "You're our dog, Victor." I knew then. They were using him, and I would use their greed against them. I was Marcus Moretti, a man who built an empire with blood and iron, and I would not let my son's betrayal bury me. My resolve was a fortress, my heart carried by Isabella and the loyal few, my mind ready to reclaim what was mine. The safe house's damp walls were my refuge. Victor's betrayal. "You're done, Dad." And the Rossi's laughter echoing as I pored over stolen ledgers, my hands steady despite the city's scorn. Isabella's voice was my anchor. "We've got more men, Dad. They're ready." My mind, sharp from 40 years of ruling the streets, traced Victor's mistakes. Routes he handed to the Rossis, accounts he exposed. The city whispered, "Marcus is finished." But I was building, my heart heavy but firm. my resolve a flame fueled by those who still called me Don Moretti. Victor's arrogance was my weapon. His trust in the Rossis a crack I would widen. Isabella brought news, her voice low. Victor's giving the Rossis our entire network. Routes, suppliers, everything. I nodded, my hands marking the ledgers, my mind alive with strategy. Tommy slipped in, his eyes hard. The Rossis are using him, boss. They'll cut him loose soon. Luca added, Victor's sloppy, leaving records everywhere. I smiled, writing their words on a scrap of paper, my notebook gone but my resolve burning. The city's taunts persisted, bar owners muttering, Marcus is a ghost. But I met loyal men in shadowed alleys, my voice calm. We're not fighting for me, but for the Moretti name. Their nods were a spark, my heart steady despite Victor's betrayal. I crafted a plan, my hands steady, my mind sharp. Spread a rumor, I told Tommy. A big shipment, too good to pass up. He nodded, his voice low. The Rossis will bite. Isabella connected us to more men, her eyes fierce. They're tired of Victor's weakness. I studied the ledgers, finding the Rossis' greed, overextended deals, shaky alliances. Victor's voice carried at a club, his tone brash. I'm the boss now. Dad's nothing. The Rossis laughed, their grip tightening. You're our key, kid. But I knew their game. They were using him, and I would use their overconfidence. The city's whispers grew. Victor's losing control. My heart ached for the son I raised, but my resolve was a tower, unyielding. The rumor spread, the city buzzing with talk of a golden deal, a shipment worth millions. Tommy reported, The Rossis are hooked. Victor's pushing them to act. I nodded, my hands mapping their moves, my mind plotting like the days I built our empire. Isabella whispered, Our men are ready, Dad. They're yours again. I met them at a hidden warehouse, my voice steady. This isn't about revenge. It's about our name. Their eyes lit up, their loyalty a fire rekindled. The city's scorn faded, some allies whispering, Marcus is planning something. Victor's voice grew shaky at a Rossi meeting. This deal will seal my power. The Rossi boss smirked. Don't mess it up, kid. I thought of Clara, her gentle smile, our nights forging the Moretti legacy. Would she see me now? Cast out, but fighting. I scratched her name on the paper, my resolve unbroken. The city's underworld mocked me, their voices cruel. Marcus is done. But my men grew stronger, their trust a shield. Isabella brought more intel, her voice firm. The Rossis are overstretched, Dad. Victor's blind to it. I nodded, my hands steady, my plan a trap tightening around them. Victor's arrogance persisted, his voice loud. Dad's gone, and I'm the future. But the Rossis' laughter was colder, their trust in him thinning, my heart heavy but firm as I prepared to spring the trap. The city's whispers turned to doubt. Victor's slipping. I moved silently, my hands guiding loyal men, my mind sharp with strategy. Tommy whispered, The shipment's set. They're moving tomorrow? I smiled, my resolve a fortress, my heart carried by Isabella and our men. Victor and the Rossis thought they had won, their deal the final nail in my coffin. They were wrong. I was Marcus Moretti, a man who built an empire with blood and iron, and I would turn their greed against them. My hands set the final pieces, my heart anchored by the Moretti name, my mind ready to reclaim what was mine. The city's pulse thrummed as I stood in the shadows of the old dock warehouse, my hands steady despite the weight of Victor's betrayal and the Rossis' laughter still burning in my mind. The golden deal I had planted, A fake shipment worth millions had drawn them in, their greed blinding them. Victor stood at the center of the warehouse, his voice loud as he shook hands with the Rossi boss. "This seals our power," Isabella whispered beside me, her eyes fierce. "Our men are ready, Dad." My heart was heavy but firm, my resolve forged in 40 years of ruling the streets. Tonight, I would reclaim the Moretti name, not with blood, but with the truth my son and my enemies thought they had buried. The warehouse doors burst open, my loyal men, Tommy, Luca, and others, storming in, their guns raised, their loyalty a fire I had rekindled. The Rossis froze, their hands reaching for weapons, but my voice cut through the chaos, calm and heavy. "This empire was never yours, Victor." He turned, his face paling, his eyes wide as he saw me, alive and unbroken. The Rossi boss snarled, "You're dead, Marcus!" I stepped forward, my frame gaunt but my eyes burning. "You thought you could steal my legacy with my son's help," I said, tossing forged ledgers onto the table, fake deals exposing their overreach. But greed betrays greed. The room erupted, my men disarming the Rossis, their shouts drowned by the clatter of guns hitting the floor. I faced Victor, my voice steady. "You sat with our enemies, sold our roots, our accounts, our name. You didn't just betray me. You betrayed the Moretti blood." Victor's hands shook, his voice trembling. "Dad, I just wanted to prove myself." I shook my head, my heart aching but unyielding. "You proved you're a traitor," I said. "You chose the Rossis over your own father." Isabella stepped forward, her voice fierce. "You shamed us, Victor." The Rossi boss lunged, his voice furious. "You set us up, old man." But my men held him, their loyalty a wall stronger than his threats. Tommy spoke, his voice hard. "We followed Marcus, not you, Victor." Luca nodded, his eyes cold. The Moretti name is his. The city's whispers had turned to cheers, word spreading. "Marcus is back." I looked at Victor, his shoulders slumped, his ambition crumbling. "You thought you could bury me," I said, my voice low but piercing. "But this empire was built with my blood and iron, not your greed." The Rossi's men surrendered, their plans shattered, my trap airtight, forged documents, loyal men, and their own arrogance. The crowd of my men roared, their hands raised, their faith in me a shield against the pain of my son's betrayal. Victor fell to his knees, his voice weak. "Dad, please, I'm sorry." The Rossi boss spat. "You idiot kid, you ruined us." I stood tall, my resolve unshaken. "Sorry doesn't rebuild an empire," I said. "You broke our family when you sat with them." Isabella's eyes filled with tears, her voice soft. "You're still Don Moretti, Dad." Tommy clapped my shoulder, his voice warm. "Always will be." The city's streets buzzed, their voices loud. Marcus took it back. I thought of Clara, her gentle smile, her faith in me. I had risen for her, for Isabella, for the Moretti name, not for Victor's tears. The warehouse, once a stage for my fall, was now their downfall. My men secured the Rossis, their empire crumbling as mine rose again. Victor's sobs echoed, his betrayal exposed, his future lost. The city told my story. Don Moretti, unbroken by blood. I walked out, my steps sure, Isabella at my side, her loyalty a fortress stronger than the betrayal I faced. My heart was heavy, but my hands were steady, ready to rebuild what was mine. Carried by those who never turned away, the warehouse confrontation faded into the city's night, but its echoes lingered as I stood in the Moretti mansion, my hands steady, the weight of Victor's betrayal still heavy in my chest. The trap I set had crushed the Rossis. their men scattered, their power broken. My empire was mine again, the streets whispering, Don Moretti's back. Isabella stood beside me, her eyes fierce, her loyalty a flame that never wavered. I looked at her, my heart steady, and knew the Moretti name would live on. Not through Victor's greed, but through her strength. The city's respect returned, old allies knocking at my door, their voices warm. You never fell, Marcus. I nodded, writing their words in my mind. My notebook gone, its pages of pain no longer needed. The streets buzzed, bar owners and drivers pledging loyalty. You're the real Don, Marcus. I smiled, my heart firm, not for their praise, but for the purpose I reclaimed. Victor's fall was complete, his name shunned, his deals with the Rossis exposed. He sent a message through Tommy, his voice broken. Dad, I was wrong. Forgive me. I read it, my hands tracing the scars of his betrayal, my resolve unyielding. You sold our name to our enemies, I said to the empty room, my voice calm. You broke our blood when you chose them. Isabella's voice was soft. He's lost everything, Dad. I nodded, my heart heavy but unmoved. My life rebuilt by those who stayed true. I rebuilt the Moretti Empire, my hands guiding old roots, my mind sharp with 40 years of strategy. Tommy and Luca stood by me, their voices steady. The city's yours again, boss. Isabella worked tirelessly, her eyes bright. This is our legacy, Dad. I thought of Clara, her gentle smile, her faith in our family. Her memory lived in these streets, in the empire I took back. The city's respect grew, their voices loud. Marcus is the Moretti name. I smiled, their trust a balm for the wounds Victor left. Old enemies fell silent, their fear returning, their whispers soft. Don Moretti never breaks. I nodded, my work a quiet victory, my heart anchored by those who never turned away. At a family gathering, I spoke, my voice steady, the crowd quiet. My son betrayed us, I said, my eyes on Isabella, on my men. But you stood by me, fought for our name. This empire is yours. They clapped, their hands raised, their loyalty a wave washing over me. I turned to Isabella, my voice low. You're the future, my daughter. Her eyes widened, her voice firm. I'll make you proud, Dad. Victor's regret reached me through a letter, his words weak. I'm sorry, Dad. I shook my head, my heart steady. Sorry doesn't rebuild trust, I said. I thought of Clara, her love for our family, and knew I had fought for her, for Isabella, for the Moretti name. I stepped back, handing the reins to Isabella, her strength a mirror of my own. The city told my story. Don Moretti, risen from betrayal. I lived for her, for the empire, for Clara's memory, my heart carried by their trust. Victor's betrayal was a scar that healed but lingered, his regret too late for the father he sold. I was Marcus Moretti, a man who built an empire with blood and iron, not for his tears, but for the honor that endured, stronger than the chains he forged. If your own son allied with your enemies to steal your empire, what would you do? Would you rise to reclaim your name, or let his betrayal bury you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. My journey showed me that blood can break, but honor rebuilds stronger. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to join me for more stories of treachery and the fight to take back what's yours.